What's up, coaster nerds? Happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday, happy whatever you celebrate. Here's hoping nobody gets trampled at a Black Friday sale at either Walmart or Best Buy.
Happy holidays, Rick. And to you, my friend.
Yeah, good luck out there.
Yep, be safe.
So, 2024 was an atrocious year for roller coasters. Here in North America, anyway. Whether we're talking about coasters that were supposed to open and didn't, coasters that were open and closed down for one reason or another, or in one very special case, a 3-year delay for theme park development.
Before we get into the horrors of it all, we would just like to share one crazy statistic with you guys. Iron Menace at Dorney Park was the only thrill coaster built from the ground up to operate throughout its entire season.
So yeah, of all the 2024 thrill coasters that were slated for this year, there was one that opened up and stayed open.
One coaster to rule them all. Who knew it would be Iron Menace?
Hey, it's a fine coaster, I guess, but nothing
It's fine.
special.
Yeah.
Good job, Dorney Park. Yay.
So just one thrill coaster. There were a handful of family coasters to do the same, but I think the fact that there was just one thrill coaster to do this is like just an astronomical fact.
Yep, and there were some relocated thrill coasters as well, but from the ground up, this was the only one. Wild. The 3-year theme park delay we alluded to is happening at the American Heartland. If you're unaware, this is a theme park that was slated to be open in 2026 in northeastern Oklahoma, and apparently they didn't realize they were building in a flood zone, so they got all the wrong permits and need to do them all over again.
Mm-hmm. Basically starting over completely.
Which is going to cause a 3-year delay, so now they're talking 2029.
That doesn't even sound like a real year to me.
There are setbacks, and then there's whatever the hell is happening here.
Yeah.
3 years?
Unreal, yeah.
Like, it can't just be the permit. Like, something else has got to be going on, I think.
Maybe. I mean, bureaucratic work does move slowly, so who the heck knows?
And as far as the roller coasters at this park, we don't have anything concrete yet, but from this concept art, it looks like we could be seeing a GCI wooden coaster and potentially an Intamin or Vekoma multi-launch coaster, which, you know, sounds great and all, but 2029, I'll be dead, I think, so I won't get to ride these.
Hopefully we eventually get to find out. And moving on down to Austin, Texas for Codaland. If it feels like forever ago that this park was announced, that's because that is the case. Every year it's the same story with this park. It's just delay after delay. They're just having the worst luck. We believe it was originally slated to open up in 2022, but now we're looking at 2025. So, yeah, another 3-year gap. I guess that seems to be the trend.
The magic number, 3 years of delays.
The 2 thrill coasters being built there have gone vertical now, though, so that's a step in the right direction at least. Palindrome, the Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster, seems to be nearly finished. And Circuit Breaker, which is a Vekoma tilt coaster, seems to be on its way as well. So 2025, finally, maybe, hopefully. I don't know, fingers crossed. We're really hoping on this one because it does look like it'll be a cool park.
Up next, we're moving west to Glendale, Arizona, Battelle Adventure Park. This is kind of the same situation. They also have 2 coasters being built here, both themed to Hot Wheels, so that's pretty cool. You have Bone Shaker, which is the family coaster, and Twin Mill Racer, which is the Chance Hyper GTX model that we're looking very, very much forward to. Both of these coasters were slated to open in 2024, but now pushed back to, you guessed it, 2025 with the entire theme park. Again, both of these coasters are vertical now, and it looks like 2025, it may actually happen.
Heading south of the border to Six Flags, Mexico. Everything was looking up for them. They were supposed to get a brand new Harley Quinn tilt coaster, but nope, Cedar Point took that and said, hey, it's mine now. Seems like there were some issues with clearing some trees and the government got involved and it turned into those huge debacle, as it always does.
Or it was just Cedar Point pretending to be the Mexico City government and be like, hey, yeah, man, you can't build there. Sorry, you're going to have to move that coaster somewhere else.
To our park, specifically.
You swooped in like vultures and just stole it right from them.
At the end of the day, it seems like Cedar Point just saw this shiny new toy and wanted to take it for themselves. And welcome to being in the same chain as Cedar Point now, Six Flags Mexico. Better luck next year, maybe.
Our brand new coaster wasn't doing too hot, so we're going to have to take yours. Sorry.
Rebranded as Siren's Curse. Which I guess explains why it's red, that it was supposed to be Harley Quinn themed. Which would have been
exactly.
a lot cooler, I think.
But take the roller coaster, which is red,
Mhm.
and theme it to anything else that isn't sirens.
The bluest thing I can think of. I'm sorry.
There's so many things that
That are red.
are red, yeah, but if they chose sirens.
Or paint it. I don't know. How hard could that be?
Heading over to Six Flags Over Georgia now. Their Kid Flash coaster was delayed and delayed again, but finally did open at the end of 2023.
Nice.
Only for it to not last even 1 year before becoming closed indefinitely now.
Oh.
Not a great look, Skyline Attractions. Apparently these coasters vibrate like crazy. Also, Six Flags Over Georgia was slated to get Georgia Surfer, the first ever Intamin surf model. Slated for 2024, and you wouldn't believe it, folks. Guess what happened? Delayed until 2025.
Headed over to Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. So the same thing that happened at Six Flags Over Georgia with their Kid Flash is happening here. Doesn't seem to be like a fluke or anything. It's just that Skyline can't manufacture a reliable roller coaster, I guess.
Seems to be the case.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. These are kid coasters. Like,
Yeah.
they can't even handle that. Like,
Not great. And who wants to get jackhammered on a kid coaster? Like, not us.
not worth it.
Mm-mm.
Staying in Texas, heading over to Six Flags Over Texas, they just closed down La Vibora with no notice at all, and this was the last Intamin bobsled operating in the world. So it is very, very meaningful.
Absolutely.
And to not give their guests any kind of notice for a ride like this is just sad. Seems this new Six Flags leadership just likes to play roller coaster roulette all across the board with these Six Flags parks. Like if they do this to something like Kingda Ka, literally nothing is safe.
Nothing is safe. Nothing is sacred. Heading over to Busch Gardens, Tampa. Scorpion closed after an amazing 44-year run. At least they gave park goers a chance to get on one last ride on this classic Schwarzkopf. Not an ideal length of time, but compared to what the Six Flags chain has been doing,
Amazing.
yes, superb. Out of this world.
Bravo, Busch Gardens.
Yeah. Thank you for caring about your guests.
Alrighty, heading up north to Kennywood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania now. It was announced earlier this year that Steel Curtain was not going to be operating for this season, but before they announced that, they did sell a bunch of season passes under the guise that it would be.
Naturally.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Yep.
And this thing is having major structural issues. They had to build new supports for this thing, they're putting new footers into the ground. I'm not sure if this ride was built on a cursed Indian burial ground or if they have some kind of quicksand situation going on.
Sounds like it.
It's sinking into the ground. The park does seem optimistic that it will be open next year, according to the website, so let's hope so.
Heading over to Cedar Point.
It's been so long since we talked about Cedar Point.
Yeah. Oh, Zamperla. So, tale as old as time. I know you've heard us talk about this before. Top Thrill 2 was all the rage for 8 whole days. This park's decision going with Zamperla for a project of this stature, still kind of blows our minds, and now we can all see why it was such a terrible decision.
High risk, high reward, am I right?
Yeah.
The risk really won out on that one.
It sure did, unfortunately. Top Thrill 2 is 4 times taller than anything Zamperla has ever worked on in the past, so just what a monumental undertaking, and it didn't work out. But we're beating a dead horse at this point, so let's move on.
All right, heading to the West Coast. Six Flags Magic Mountain and Superman Escape from Krypton. I guess strata coasters are just illegal now?
Seems like.
Even though this technically is not a strata coaster. The coaster only goes 315 foot high. I don't care how tall the structure is. Doesn't count. But that's not the point of this video anyway. I digress. This is another coaster that has barely operated this year, and in September, it officially went into refurbishment. I'm just hoping that it could come out of refurbishment at some point, because, with this new Six Flags, like we mentioned, nothing is safe, and we're terrified.
Maybe they can start calling it Superman Escape from Refurbishment.
Like that. Superman Escape from the greedy clutches of the new Six Flags.
On our way over to the great state of New Jersey. This state, unfortunately, maybe took the biggest hit this year.
Why are you people doing this? But I told you, it's just a Jersey thing.
Firstly, let's head over to Nickelodeon Universe. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shellraiser.
Shellraiser!
Shellraiser! The world's steepest roller coaster, themed after the world's coolest turtle.
Damn right.
This has been closed the entire year with no signs of reopening. And don't trust their fugly of a website either.
Yeah, those dates are not to be trusted. They do this every few weeks. They just keep pushing it back a few months. They've been doing this since whenever it closed, like January.
Yeah, that's the game they play. It currently says it'll be opening in December, but again, they just keep delaying it, so I would not trust that, nor would I use their website to like plan a trip around. It does seem like there's some structural issues occurring, and we haven't really seen any maintenance on it either, so it's kind of scary. We hope it doesn't just sit there to rot, and considering where it's located, relocating this actual coaster would be such a difficult thing to do, because you really would just have to like shut down the entire park and like probably that whole section of the mall that it's in.
Yeah, definitely. They cannot remove this ride without shutting down the park for probably like a week, I assume.
Yeah, it's landlocked in there.
It's in a mall,
Yep.
unfortunately. And the big winner here for the worst possible year in the amusement industry goes to Six Flags Great Adventure. Bravo. First off, Flash Vertical Velocity, which is their Super Boomerang, slated to open in 2024, pushed to 2025. Fine. But on top of that, they're now removing like half the rides in the park with no notice whatsoever. 2 of those being roller coasters, and one of those happened to be the world's tallest, fastest operating roller coaster in the world. No big deal, right? It's not like it was like a legendary icon of this park that just led people from all over the world to come and visit. Whatever they choose to replace it with is certainly going to be just as impressive.
Oh yeah, how could it not be? Yeah, it's really easy to do that.
And let's not forget about the precious Skyway that they're removing.
I always like that. That's a bummer to hear about.
This is just straight up amusement park vandalism here, folks.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about culture. They don't care about history.
They don't care about ease of transport across the park.
I'm just going to miss those M&M gondolas, man. Nobody had M&M gondolas quite like Great Adventure.
Really didn't. It's the only M&M gondolas I knew about. They're gone.
Gone. Happy 50th anniversary, Great Adventure.
Yeah. Wow, you really killed it this year. And what is the saving grace for new coasters in 2024 in the U.S., you may ask? Even though it is just a family coaster, the Bobcat over at the Great Escape in Queensbury, New York, really is a gem.
This thing is sick.
Got a shirt. You got it for me.
I did. While we didn't fare so well here in North America in 2024 for new coasters, across the pond in Europe, they certainly did.
Somebody had to do good this year, right?
Yeah, good for you guys. I'm sure they had their fair share of closures and delays. As far as their big new thrill coasters, they hit that out of the park. It seems like all year they've been operating without a hitch for the most part. Voltron at Europa Park, Nemesis Reborn at Alton Towers, Mahuka at Wallaby Roan Alps, Force at Emerald Park, and Hyperia at Thorpe Park. Hyperia did have a little bit of an issue, like the first few weeks, like something with its lift chain was going on, but they got that corrected pretty quickly, and it was just up and running since then, I believe.
Oh, imagine that.
See what you can do with good planning and reliable manufacturers.
Huh, wow, what a concept.
But yeah, overall, it seems like it was a fantastic year over in Europe for roller coasters.
Good for them. So we did make a most anticipated roller coaster list of 2024 earlier this year. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of repeat offenders on our anticipation for 2025 coaster list.
A lot of them.
Most of them, somehow. We'd like to assume all of those will hopefully open next year, but I don't want to get too cocky over here.
It looks promising, but yeah, from like what we've been seeing, no promises.
We have
right?
no idea.
So that is some good news coming out of all of this. Like, even though 2024 was horrendous, 2025 is looking stacked now for roller coasters. And that's very exciting stuff.
Yes, it's like a phoenix from the ashes. It's got to be better than this year, right? I hope.
Again, I can't see any way that it wouldn't be. It was a pretty awful year.
We dare to dream.
Yeah.
Let us know if we missed anything else here, in reference to why 2024 was such a remarkably terrible year for coasters. We'd love to hear what you guys think.
I'm sure we missed a few things just based on how truly awful it's been.
We have, yeah.
And which one of these delays or closures ruined your year the most?
Yeah, right.
Which one of these is your home park? All right, well, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like as well. It helps out the channel tremendously. And if it's your first time here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more theme park shenanigans here on Adventure Parks. We'll catch you next time.